Club road racing in America was built on a foundation of 1986 Suzuki GSXR750s. Suzuki would call it the first racer replica that fully fared, twin-headlight, air-oil-cooled four-cylinder, and it would be hard to argue with that statement. It was just so serious and uncompromised in its racing focus that it pretty much became the ignition point for the club racing growth in America that followed its release. This 2017 GSXR1000 is similar in spirit. For while the GSXR1000R with its fancier components and more standard features is a fine top-line competitor in the class, this base bike right in here rolls into dealerships with an MSRP of $14,599, $400 cheaper than the ABS model and well under the R model's $16,999. What's the bargain version get to help save a few bucks? Show a big piston fork and more basic shock in place of the balance-free fork shock while deleting the quick shifter and auto blip downshift. The thinking here is to give racers, track day riders, and even normal sport bike citizens of the street the option for a lowest cost 1000 with high performance as a ready-made platform waiting for your mods. What's left after the fancy part deletions is what you need to have a good time on the street and racetrack. Engine spec is the same. Traction control is even still there for you. We had a dream day at the track for our first experience on the bike, riding at Circuit of the Americas on Monday following MotoP and Moto America rounds. In case you missed it, Yoshimura Suzuki had a strong debut in superbike racing, Tony Elias and his GSXR taking the win in both races. Riding with Kenny Roberts Jr. and Kevin Schwantz, both world champions on two-stroke 500cc Grand Prix Suzukis, was a major bonus. Even better, while I was chasing Schwantz around trying to keep him as large in the video camera frame as possible, I blew turn 19 and Roberts zipped up the inside. I thanked him later for doing it on the camera side and making it such a killer shot. Annihilated by two world champions riding on an incredible MotoP track. Oh, bucket list, you just got quite a bit shorter. You might be saying to yourself, hey, Hoyer, why do you blow that corner? And I'm here to tell you it was because I got such a killer drive off the big, double apex carousel around the tower. The great thing about a new bike and tires is that there is so much headroom in performance that blowing a corner has generally much lower consequence than in years past. Having grown up riding on tires that felt like petrified wood and with no rider aids, I declare we are in the golden age of the sport motorcycle. The Bridgestone R10 race tires fitted for our day at COTA were grippy and consistent over about 50 laps and 170 miles, and the whole day. Combine this great rubber with Suzuki traction control and you have the recipe for success entire life. I started the day in TC setting 5 of 10, plus off, Suzuki's most aggressive recommendation for street riding. As the pace went up and I began to have an idea where I was on this very long track, I played with settings 14 and settled on 3. It allowed great drive with ample safety net. Setting 1 allowed a lot of raw, naked aggression, which I found I was happy to appreciate from afar. Schwantz rode around with his stuff turned off. Crooked thumbs up pal braking from about 165 miles per hour down to 45 on the back straight and doing similar from a slightly lower speed on the uphill entry into turn 1 made me wish I'd done a lot more push-ups the last few months. Or more track riding. Or both. This is a really challenging course with heavy physical demands over its 3.4-mile lap. The Brembo front brakes with radial master cylinder and radial-mounted monoblock calipers gave strong but not overly aggressive initial bite and a firm lever for the first few laps of any session. Once they were quite heated from those stops, the lever would move closer to the bar and go slightly spongy, although feel and control remained good. There was also an occasional high-frequency vibration when the brakes were at their hottest. These massive braking demands, coupled with so many manual downshifts, underlined how amazing and useful the no common auto blip downshift is. Suzuki is working on it as an accessory for the bike at standard on the R, but it will require a wiring harness, shift sensor, and EQ, price yet to be determined. Okay, I essentially always got the bike stopped just fine for all these corners, even with a little sponge and no abs. And then, first gear hairpin corner exits on a litter class superbike for the street are one of the great reasons we love TC. Whipping onto the front straight, the bike hooks up into a rad crossed-up wheelie that starts while you're leaned way over. Everybody on the launch pretty much was performing these kinds of amazing feats not possible by mere mortals in previous, non-electronics days. Fast guys sure have been doing it all along, but even the not-so-fast can impress friends and family with an exhibition of style and speed once reserved for world champions and their ilk. Power from the 999.8cc, 180-degree crank inline-4 is strong from 6,000 revolutions per minute, and the torque curve in drive are muscular and smooth. With the clever mechanical variable intake cam timing at work, I expected more pull on the top end. The engine felt as though it continued to make power as it neared redline, but in flatline way after about 12,000 revolutions per minute and until its glorious 14,500 revolutions per minute redline. The engine feels precise, controlled, and fast, but doesn't deliver that oh my god animal scream on top like your S1000RRs and RSV4s. The dyno will tell us what's going on. And when our man in a van with a plan Hayden Gillum gets his Moto America Superstock GSXR1000 remapped by FlashTune and we get our Yoshimura race pipe, we'll let you know the results versus a stock baseline. Ride Mode A was my favorite ride-by-wire throttle response for both street and track. All three deliver peak power but vary the rapidity of throttle response. At the track, there was a little twitchiness off throttle to on. I had to work hard at Coda in the first gear corners to lay on initial throttle smoothly, and sometimes, particularly when tired, I just couldn't do it perfectly and upset the bike. Most of the time, response was as expected with no surprises. B mode made it easier to hit smooth application, but with WASNT quite as thrilling as getting it right in A mode. At least we have choice here. Steering is light, and trail braking performance was excellent. The GSXR1000 has lower effort steering than our current reigning 1000cc sport bike, the Yamaha YZF-R1. While the Yamaha takes more effort to turn, it also exhibits an unflappably stability. The GSXR1000 feels a little edgier, the handlebars wagging on corner exits if you don't place the front wheel down straight on one of those great corner exits, even with the stock steering damper. One Suzuki employee had a headshake incident that knocked the pads back, with an unfortunate result in turn 1 when he went for the lever and found no brake pressure. I did not experience such severity, and after my instance of shake, I minded my alignment and enjoyed the steering response with no further issues. Of all the qualities that stood out about the bike, steering was tops. It is a beautiful motorcycle to corner on. The next day we rode on the street on the factory-fitted RS10 road sport tires, cruising a 120-mile loop out of Austin with a little taste of hill country, which, on our route, was pretty much all 300 miles per hour sweepers. Fine riding, beautiful scenery, and very much a sample of daily ride use. How is the bike? Docile and snuggly as a gorilla in a lamb suit. It was completely civilized and offered a more streetable riding position than most of its competitors. I didn't notice the seat once, and, as a 6'2" gorilla in a cow suit, I found reach to the bars and foot peg height just fine for street riding. I would have been happy to ride a lot farther, but we stopped at Salt Lick Barbecue because Amon's got to eat some of the best smoked meats on earth when he gets the chance. Luckily, ID left out my back protector, so there was plenty of room for brisket, ribs, beans, slaw and pickles. So in addition to doing more push-ups, he'll also be doing some sit-ups. Stock suspension settings were supple enough on the street. Comfortable, yes, but with a great control. The not too aggressive initial bite made the brakes your friend for the fast, flowing roads, because sometimes, on a litter bike, it is necessary to slow the beast a bit, even for 300 miles per hour sweepers. Though we have yet to do any back-to-back testing, my bet is the GSXR will be one of the better street bikes of our litter class crop in 2017. There's a lot of performance per dollar here. This bike is, in fact, the lowest priced 1000cc sport bike you can buy new in 2017, and it's now also the newest complete redesign. It's remarkable for both the level of performance it offers and how perfectly GSXR it feels. Suzuki's long history building race bikes for the street shows, and staffers here all know exactly how a GSXR is supposed to feel and how generally forgiving they are in terms of working well with a wide range of setup. They really feel like a racing tool. The GSXR has always been the bike that brought high performance to the masses, and this new base model 1000 carries that forward. Suzuki's soul is GSXR, and it must have pained the company to wait so long to redo its flagship sport bike. The time spent working on this bike has been worth it. There will be a real fight for best superbike of 2017. Marks Gear Helmet Show AX14 Suit Alpine Stars Atom Suit Boots Alpine Stars SuperTech R Boots Gloves Alpine Stars GP Pro R2 Gloves